This is Arike Ogunbowale, and you're listening to the Soaring Wings Show.
All right, thanks guys for tuning in to the Soaring Wings Show on the Winsidr Network. I am Arie Graham at WNBA Love on Twitter, at WNBA_Love on Instagram.
And this is Dorothy J. Gentry at Dorothy J. Gentry on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, y'all. So we're coming at you right after the outstanding performance against the Los Angeles Sparks. The Dallas Wings won 84-78 with an outstanding performance from Rookie of the Year so far candidate.
Should have been there, y'all.
35 points.
Should have been there.
Yes, it was actually something spectacular to see. So let's take a listen from what Arike had to say after the game.
Yeah, I think it was just a good team effort. You know, my teammates found me. I think our defense, we got in transition and we just got into the flow.
Yeah, so it was a great game all around. Glory Johnson had a career high 5 3-pointers in the game. Ended the game with 20 points. Imani McGee-Stafford grabbed her 500th board. You had Isabel Harrison that had a game high 4 steals. It was just good things all around. 26 points in the first quarter, most in the first quarter this season. I mean, what were your thoughts?
It was definitely a total team effort tonight. But guys, it was the Arike show. It was the Arike show on tonight. They suited up only 8 players, as we know, and we'll talk a little bit about the suspensions and the fight a little bit later in the show. But with only 8 players, they snapped the Sparks' 5-game win streak, and they won their second in a row. So at just the right time, I think you talked about it last week, the malice in Dallas. At just the right time, the Wings are kind of doing some things. They may not make the playoffs, but they're making some noise as we heading to the end of the season.
Yeah, if they can keep it up like this, they're definitely going to cause a lot of trouble for other teams. And, I mean, they still haven't been eliminated from playoff contention. There's still a little bit more time. We have, 8 games left after this? We play against New York on Friday. So there's still a chance. But definitely they are going to be a team that can definitely mess up seeding for the players. Because I know that LA is really trying to fight for one of those spots to make sure they have a bye week in the playoffs.
Right, but they did. They came in. And Arike's performance, it was historic, most definitely. She tied for 5th most by a rookie in WNBA history. One more time, 5th most by a rookie in WNBA history. It was also the 2nd most points by a Wings rookie, and is tied for 9th most points scored in the game in franchise history. So she added a little spice to the Rookie of the Year conversation on tonight. This is also her 9th time this season collecting 20 or more points.
Yeah, she's definitely been the main scoring option for the Dallas Wings. You can see automatically, like when you get the rebound from a board, like it's find Arike. Where's Arike? Let's see if Arike is open. Like
definitely the number one option.
Yes, she's been given those reins, and then it's even better when you have veteran players like Glory making it behind the 3-point line, and you got Imani beasting on the boards, everybody just beasting on the boards, making sure that they're getting those opportunities. I could just tell, like, automatically we're getting the ball to Arike, and it's really great to see, like, Agler give her that kind of control and reins over the team. It's a lot of pressure for a young rookie, and she seems to be handling it very well.
Very well indeed, most definitely. Her confidence is growing, you can tell, and she's basically, stepped in and put the team on her back. And I think it's awesome. Definitely want to give a shout out to Glory Johnson again, as you already mentioned tonight. She sank a career high. She's been in the league for a minute.
Yeah.
Career high 5 3-pointers tonight. And in the night 5 for 6 with 20 points. So she had a little vintage performance on tonight. So shout out to Glory, most definitely.
Yeah, it was good to see Glory in that light again, because it took a little while for her to get reacclimated after returning from Europe. Yeah, from Eurobasket. And it's just really good to see her step up and really just balling. Like, not only on the offensive end, she was really aggressive on the defensive end as well.
Most definitely. So it was great to see that veteran presence, that vintage performance, coming out tonight. And also want to give a shout out to Imani McGee-Stafford. She collected her 500th career rebound tonight. So shout out to him. So again, it was an all-around team effort.
It was really good to see her out there. I see she was just changing a lot of trajectory of shots. Like a lot of times she was just putting her hands up, going up, not necessarily going for the block, but it was enough to make sure that the opponents missed. I mean, how about holding the Los Angeles Sparks to just 14 points in the fourth quarter? Again, there's that defensive mentality from the team, that identity that the Wings have gained. And at home, it's just they are tough to beat.
Most definitely.
All right, so it was the second win for the Wings in a row. It's the first time they've done it since back in June. You know, they got their first road win. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about this supposed Rookie of the Year conversation. Now, you guys know me. I'm going to be biased regardless when it comes to the Dallas Wings, and I feel like Arike just keeps proving her case in the matter of Rookie of the Year.
Right.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think she is. I mean, and I'm not going to necessarily say being biased, covering the Dallas Wings as the beat writer for The Athletic. Shout out right quick to The Athletic. But she's good. She's, for a rookie, she's poised. She's come in and she's had to do so many different things. And people talk about her efficiency isn't there. Tonight she was, 57%, from the field. So, she's growing in her confidence. She's growing in her shot selection and her shot making, and she's out there doing it all. Because of the situation, the roster fluctuations, the missing players, and she's doing it all with ease. And again, her confidence is growing. I think she is making a strong case for Rookie of the Year.
I would think so as well. I understand that Napheesa Collier was an all-star, and there's nothing to downplay. I mean, both of them have been playing very, very well, and for them to be picked lower in the draft, I mean, you have 1, 2, and 3 that haven't even been considered in the conversation. It's just these two that are in the front running. So, I mean, you look at the situations, the naysayers are saying that, well, Arike has more opportunity to score, which is why, Napheesa Collier should be considered. Just because of her situation. She's still stuffing stats as well. I mean, she's been a steady player throughout the year, but it's like she doesn't have the same responsibility that Arike has.
Right.
So
I totally agree with that. You have to look at what she's dealing with, in terms of, the people around her, her teammates around her, the situation that she's in, and she's still producing, and she's still, being stopped. Teams are focusing on Arike, veteran players,
I saw Candace Parker on her for a little bit tonight. Like, they were trying to throw anything at her to do that. I mean, to stop her. And you're not seeing that with Napheesa Collier because she's like the third or fourth option out there in Minnesota. But, shout out to Napheesa. But I really think that Arike is the Rookie of the Year. But we got 9 games left to see. Let's find out, but I think it's gonna be Arike in the end. So, I mean, tonight the Dallas Wings were limited due to the suspensions that came down earlier this week.
Suspension gate.
Yeah, suspension gate. Tonight the team was without Kayla Thornton, which is our top defensive threat on the team, and they only suited up 8 players, and they were still able to make it work.
And we already know the reason why they suited up only 8 players is because of the suspensions. Again, suspension gate. You all know about the altercation on Saturday night's game on the road in Phoenix with the Wings, and at the center of that, of course, was Brittany Griner and new Dallas Wing player Christine Anigwe. And so there was a little altercation there, and some going back and forth, a couple of hits, thrown, you've seen the video. So as a result, suspensions were definitely handed down. And so we know Brittany Griner, she received 3 games, for her part in the altercation. And then Kayla Thornton, again, our biggest defensive weapon, she received 2 games. Also, Anigwe, she received 2 games. And then we also have Kayla Davis, who received 1 game and a $500 fine for leaving the bench. So that's 3 players. Now, because of the league rules that you have to suit up at least 8 players, and because, of course, we're already down several players due to injuries, Kayla did play tonight, and she will play Friday. She will not serve her suspension until Sunday when they play at Connecticut, and that's when Kristen, who just came from Connecticut, is back on the court, as well as Kayla Thornton.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting.
Did y'all get all that? Who's on first? Did y'all get all that?
I've really appreciated all of the takes from everyone. I mean, it really got WNBA Twitter fired up ever since Saturday. There's been a lot of discussion on whether or not the suspensions have been fair.
Right.
It's really hard to tell based off of the video that we received. Like I said, you don't really know the context of what was happening. But just looking at it, like a different perception, I do think that kind of Anigwe and Griner should have been on the same level. I still do not know what it was that got Kayla Thornton involved. That kind of set her off a little bit, but it was just heated. And I mean, I don't even want to spend the rest of this time talking about the officiating that led to it. It's just
when you let things go, and little ticky tack things aren't called. After a while, it gets built up, and it's like, you know what, that's enough. And I think Kayla Thornton, she was just coming to the aid. Again, I don't really know what all happened. All we saw, all that I saw was Brittany going for it. Going for Anigwe, and of course her jetting the other way. Taking off. So,
I mean, due to the escalation, Brittany Griner did receive more, and it's a little bit concerning because, I mean, shout out to ESPNW because there was an article released on how she feels towards the league and how, you know, she's really just in this for her teammates, and the fact that things like this keep happening to the bigs in the league, or to her specifically, she's getting beat up every night and things aren't being called. It's pretty unfair. So, I mean, shout out to BG. She's taking it on the chin. Everybody's just dealing with it and moving on, and the Dallas Wings show that we're just moving on and doing our best that we can with what we have, and just making it work with what we got.
Right, but that was something interesting, most definitely.
Yeah, it is. So, with 4 home games left, do you think the Dallas Wings have a chance at making the playoffs?
Well, right now they're 8-17.
And they are a half game back from New York, which they play on Friday, and they are
at home,
and I think 2 games away from the 8th spot. But then, if it comes down between them and Indiana owns the tiebreaker.
Exactly. So a lot of things have to happen in order for them to be able to make it. But hey, keep playing like you are going to make it is what my advice would be. They're showing some fire. They're showing some never give up. They're showing some, stick-to-itiveness right as of late. So, hey, it's a possibility. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, Agler did let us know from the beginning that this entire thing was going to be a process, and a great foundation is being laid, and it really seems like things are coming together. I mean, I can't wait till we get all of the pieces back after the suspensions to see what happens. I really think that Anigwe is going to show the league something, just because of what happened the other night.
She's going to have to.
Yeah, there's going to be some things that she's going to want to prove, but just seeing how it all comes together and seeing how if the team will finish strong, I just can't wait to see it.
I can't either. It's going to be something special, most definitely. And again, she and Kayla Thornton will be out again on Friday, their home game versus New York. And then they are expected to return on Sunday's game when they visit Connecticut, and then Kayla Davis will sit out.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough little stretch. Like, they seem like they put their heart into the game against Los Angeles. I mean, will they be able to recover and rebound and get ready for this tough New York squad that is also fighting for a playoff spot? It's going to be good. So make sure you guys come out to the game and check it out. It's going to be the Cool for School theme. All fans will be receiving a backpack.
Back to school time, guys.
Yeah, so just make sure you do that. But going along with the themes, the game against the Los Angeles Sparks was actually themed for Recovery Night. It was the first theme night of its kind. There have been more discussions around mental health, and the Recovery Night was one of those stressors regarding that topic.
I know, it was just actually a really great night. It was conceived by Jordan Bacchus. She's one of the Dallas Wings account executives, and about 8 months ago, she just had an idea for Recovery Night. Recovery meaning anyone struggling with substance abuse, alcoholism, gambling, mental health challenges, any type of challenges like those. Just bringing together those who are in recovery or need to be in recovery, supporters of those who need to be in recovery, and then resources and organizations that deal with and help you, recover from those types of challenges. Bringing all three of those together, for love of basketball as well. And so it all came to fruition. And Imani McGee Stafford, of course, we know her story as she dealt with, suicide attempts and drug abuse and all of that after sexual abuse at the hands of a family member. She was the face of tonight, and they basically had people in the audience attending the game who were in recovery. They had caregivers for those who are in recovery, and then around the outside of the arena, they had different organizations with pamphlets and booklets and just information to take away to help you as you deal with these types of issues and challenges. So it was a very successful night. And of course, the whole mental health, addictions conversation continues to come to the forefront in the W. Most recently, of course, we all know the article that Liz Cambridge wrote in the Players Tribune, did not play mental rest, DNP mental rest. Versus just did not play rest, and how she talked about what she's still going through right now in terms of her mental health and challenges and her struggles. Of course, on the NBA side as well, they've made news recently requiring every team to have a retainer, to have a psychiatrist or mental health professional on retainer, for their teams. That the league for the W isn't doing that right now, but certain teams like the Wings, do have someone that they, contract with to help, talk with players and things like that one-on-one as needed. So the recovery night, again, was very successful. They gave away over $3,000 in scholarships to organizations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that help people who are in recovery. And it's just bringing awareness and erasing the stigma of having, some type of struggle or issue.
Yeah, I mean, things are tough just in our society in general, and the fact that this is coming to the forefront is really positive because people need to know about those resources available. Like, I had no idea that, there were certain groups that even existed for this type of thing, and the fact that, the WNBA and specifically the Dallas Wings are on the forefront, are having a night like this, it's really good to see, and it's something that is super positive, and I hope that we get to see more of it around the league.
And one final note, on this, I think it's great that a lot of the players are coming out talking about what they're dealing with, their struggles, because, again, it gets the burden, off of them. But then it also, I think it humanizes them because, we see them on television, or fans see them on television and they're playing, and you think that, like Imani said, that they don't have any stresses or family or triggers or just like us, they're just like us. So to hear that they're going through the same things that we go through, they have anxiety or they have depression or they, upset about something or, are dealing with some things and need to talk to somebody about it. I think it humanizes them and makes them even more personable.
Yes, and that's something good to see because, I mean, I know that I have a bad habit of fangirling with the WNBA players, but things like this does make them more relatable, gets me to calm down a little bit when being around them, and it's just,
okay, be a fan. WNBA love, guys.
Yes, that's right, that's WNBA love. That is all me. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look around the league. Sitting in first place, we have the Washington Mystics on a 4-game winning streak. Elena Delle Donne has been the forefront of the MVP conversation. You got Connecticut at number 2, winning against the Seattle Storm tonight. Las Vegas Aces sitting third, winning 2. Dallas handing Los Angeles their loss. They're in fourth place. At number 5, you have the Chicago Sky, who recently lost Jantel Lavender due to foot surgery. She had a fracture in her foot that needed to get repaired. And then Seattle has been a little up and down. They're sitting at 6. Minnesota just won 1. They are 7. And Phoenix, on a 3-game losing streak, is at number 8.
Yeah, and the first, Washington, Connecticut, Las Vegas, even maybe throwing the Sparks there. A couple of 2 or 3 games you play and the standings could then switch again. Connecticut could be back on top after a couple of wins. Los Angeles could be back on top after a couple of wins. So I could see those fluctuating. I don't know if they're going to stay those top 3. I think 1, 2, and 3 again, maybe 4, that they're going to kind of go up and down for the next week or two before they solidify. We have number 9, at the bottom of the heap, we got, the Fever, who just lost Shanice Johnson for the year to arthroscopic knee surgery. Then the Liberty, who are on a 6-game losing streak. They come in here on Friday to play the Wings, so that should be a game that we can pick up. And then, of course, we're at number 11 at 8-17 on a 2-game win streak. And then the Atlanta Dream have lost 10 in a row.
That's been really surprising to me, just because Atlanta, they have been having some good showings. Like, they'll start off good, or they'll play a good second half, and then it just hasn't been coming together in the end. I'm not sure. I can't just look at it and see, what is the main issue. I mean, I know that offensively they've had their struggles. They haven't been, shooting as well as they were previously, but it's really tough to see, that number 2 seed all the way down at the bottom. Right.
You have to file that under curveball for me, because this, again, from one year to the next, a dramatic drop off, for the coach of the year at that.
Right.
But so we have we have the Liberty and the Dream coming in here. Well, we have the Liberty coming in Friday night, and then we play the Dream in a couple of days.
Yeah, on the 25th. And then 25th, exactly. We have an opportunity to mess up things for the Sun as we visit them twice.
Exactly.
Like, we're facing all teams that are at the top of the standings.
Right.
Like I said, the Malice and Dallas, they got a real chance to mix things up, especially with the Washington Mystics. We face off against them twice. Right. One time away, and then one time with them here. And then we finish off the season with the Seattle Storm. And there's also one more matchup against the Minnesota Lynx. Now, that on August 22nd, the Rookies of the Year candidates will be going head-to-head. So you get another look to see them.
Is that an away game? Is that here?
No, it's going to be away in Minnesota, 7 o'clock our time. So
it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. All of these games, it's going to be a tough stretch for the Dallas Wings, but like I said, they have an opportunity to really shake things up in the playoff picture, regardless if they make it themselves. But if they do, they still have an opportunity to do it against some really good teams.
Right.
So let's take a second to talk about the MVP conversation. To me, so far, the front runner has been Elena Delle Donne. She's been balling with that mask and that brace over there in Washington, pushing them to the top spot in the league. You also have candidates like Jonquel Jones.
Yeah, she was my preseason pick for MVP. And then now you got Nneka.
Yeah, Arike Ogunbowale has been thrown in the conversation. I mean, she recently got Player of the Week honors earlier this week.
You think those are the top 3?
There could be more. I mean, to me, there hasn't been a whole lot of individuals sticking out. That's really just pushing their teams towards success. Like, if Dallas was in a better position, then Arike would be not only considered for Rookie of the Year but MVP.
Right.
But considering the record, we're not going to go there.
Right.
But really, it's just been a lot of team basketball. Like, I can't pick one player off of the Las Vegas Aces, for example, to say who's really leading them, because one of them could easily be in the MVP conversation. It could easily be Liz Cambage as well. But, with the way that they've been balling, it's team basketball all around. It's team basketball that are making these teams be successful towards the top of the standings. I mean, even with Chicago Sky, Diamond DeShields, she's likely, she could be most improved. We don't know. But it's like, it's hard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hamby. Would she be most improved or Sixth Woman of the Year?
Well, she could have both.
Yeah.
Okay. That's happened before.
So So, it's really good to see that these
Jonquel, by the way.
Yeah.
She's the one who, she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was most improved and,
Okay. All right.
6 women.
Yeah, so shout out to De'Arica Hamby. She could do that too. But I think that MVP is pretty much Elena Delle Donne's to lose.
I think so too. I do agree. Even though Jonquel was my preseason pick, EDD, the Washington Mystics are number 1 because of her play.
And it's like, you take her away, you don't necessarily see the same team. Like, they're still balling without Chrissy Tolliver right now because, Elena Delle Donne has stepped up and is just balling. You take Jonquel off of the Connecticut Sun, they could probably still be where they are. Not as effective in the middle, but it still wouldn't be as detrimental as EDD being taken away from. So, it's going to be like I said, it's hers to lose. We'll see how it ends up towards the end of the season. I'm just really, really excited to see how everything shakes out. I posted the other day, like, we're less than a month away from the end of the regular season. I can't believe that's it's already here. Like, it's gone so fast.
It really has. I know. Wow.
Yeah, but it's been quite the year. I mean, it's had ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster emotionally.
Right.
There's been drama. There's been, the rumble at the resort. So.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's it.
So it's
and there's only more to come, because after this season, there's a lot of changes are going to come about. We have the CBA negotiations that, because we've already agreed to opt out. So that's going to have to take place this next year. There's also no All-Star game next year because of the Olympics. So it's going to be a lot of, it's going to be some WNBA withdrawals going on here in about a month and a half after the playoffs and all that.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like, okay, so you bring up the CBA. I always got to throw one question at you randomly. Okay. Now, with the CBA negotiations, how close do you think the league is to a lockout?
That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know that Kathy, Engelbert is on hand, and she knows the issues. I'm sure that reps have begun talking with her. They're putting some cards on the table, showing their hand. I'm not really sure. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's the thing that scares me the most about it. And then it's like, if there is a lockout, what does that do? Or like, it's completely separate from the Olympics, right? It wouldn't really have an effect on Team USA. It might actually free them up to rest their bodies and get ready for the competition. But that's one of the things that concerns me, because I know, we've had the lockout in the NBA before when they were going through their negotiations. Right. So I don't see why it could be any different for the WNBA. I know that they are very serious about the things that they want fixed. The pay being the main thing, traveling. Like, I don't understand why you can't get the team in first class or just with leg room. Like,
standing around, flying, stand by and all of that. Yeah.
Do you think there's a correlation between how they travel and the injuries we've seen?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, because my foot and my back is all cramped up when I'm on a flight. I can imagine, a 6'2", 6'3", player, 6'8", right, player crammed into a seat. So possibly,
Yeah. It's gonna be really interesting to see. But you got the president, Arike Ogunbowale, and the WNPA just doing what they can to get the best for the players. And I mean,
and they deserve it.
They do. They do.
They give us their best on the court.
Yeah. No, yeah, they do. Every night they're going out there putting their heart on the floor, and really, with the conditions that they're in, they don't have to.
Right.
They don't have to. So I'm wishing them well on these negotiations. And please, please, please don't lock out. Please, please, please. So before we wrap up, let's go ahead and just go over the Wings schedule, the remaining schedule a little bit. All right, so on the 16th, we've already mentioned the game against the Liberty. They're coming into town on that losing streak. We should be able to get that one and then travel to Connecticut. That's when we'll see the last of the suspensions with Kayla Davis serving her one game. Then they travel August 22nd to Minnesota. Again, tune into that matchup between the Rookie of the Year candidates. And you have Atlanta coming into town, which I hope they don't take it too lightly on August 25th at 3 o'clock Central. But that's a game that they should pretty much win. Then you're off to Chicago on the 29th. And then you have the Mystics on the 31st coming to town for the first time this season. I'm really excited to see that matchup in person.
That is going to be a game.
Yeah, it's really good to. I want to see EDD in person, that MVP candidate, and then Ariel Powers, of course, returning every time she comes back. It's a good showing.
Right.
Fans showing love. She was a fan favorite before departing.
Big time.
And then September 4th, you have the Connecticut Sun. They go and see Teresa Plaisance again. Hopefully she'll get the show up and show out against her former team.
Right.
And then they travel September 6th against the Mystics, and they finish at home on September 8th against the Seattle Storm. Now that is going to be a tough out. I mean, it's a tough schedule to the end, but
they have the top 4 teams the last 3 games. Well, Storm.
Yeah.
Not one of them, but the Mystics and the Sun back to back.
Yeah, who knows? The Storm could be in there by the time we get to the end of the season, especially if the Wings can shake things up with those matchups against Washington and Connecticut. So, I mean, other teams, you guys, after watching tonight, when we get all of the pieces, when Dallas gets all of the pieces, do not take them lightly. Even on the road, the monkey's off the back.
Right.
The road win has happened. I think they don't have that pressure on them to try and get that W because it's already done. They're just looking to maintain and keep learning under Agler and lay that foundation. And, some players are even fighting for a position on the team next year. I mean, Arie Stevens is done for the year with her foot injury. We're likely not going to see Mariah Jefferson at all. Probably, not going to see Skylar either. So
single-digit games now.
Yeah, so.
Although she was there tonight.
Yeah, she's been there. She's been around. So we just got to see how things are going to shake out. And I think these last games, the team is really just going to be learning. So, y'all watch out. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in to the Soaring Wing Show.
We appreciate you.
Yes, on the Winsidr Network. Shout out to them. Be sure to check out Dorothy's articles on The Athletic. I've been meaning to ask you.
Thank you.
Are The Athletic readers called anything specific?
No. We can start something. The Athletites. I don't know.
Yeah. Y'all can get that. Y'all can get that going. Like on my website, it's just a fan website, WNBAlove.com. I just call them WNBA lovers.
Okay.
I don't think for Sue, I write for Sue, womenshoopsworld.com. I don't think she has a name for her readers though.
World.
Yeah, but let's get that going.
Most definitely.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening to us and hanging out.
Yeah, so I am at WNBA Love on Twitter, at WNBA_love on Instagram.
And Dorothy J. Gentry on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, thanks again, guys.
Thank you so much. We'll see you all later.
This is Arike Ogunbowale, and you're listening to the Soaring Wing Show.